All right, so Newsmax, you do an interview with them, and you say you will announce that you're going to run right after Celebrity Apprentice. On the last night of the show, you will do what?
Well, I will be announcing as to whether or not I'll run sometime prior to June. I've been saying that for a long time. Newsmax actually took a little bit of liberty when they said I will be running. I'm not going to be running. I will announce what I will be doing sometime prior to June.
Okay, and
which I've been consistently saying.
Where are you now in the decision-making process?
Well, I tell you, we just had polls, and the polls are, as you know, because I watched you the other day. You were the first one that told me, because I'm watching your television show, and I'm saying, gee whiz, I'm #1. But the polls have been really amazing. CNN came out with a poll which was phenomenal. I'm in first place with Governor Huckabee, who's a good guy, by the way, who I've gotten to know recently, and I think really he's a terrific guy. And it's always bad. You know, you're supposed to compete against people. I do much better when I don't like the people. But I happen to like him, and I like a couple of the other candidates.
Well, we'll talk about that in a second. You said you are Barack Obama's worst nightmare. Why?
Well, I understand him. I understand what's going on. I understand the mindset. They do not want to run against me. I get it, and he doesn't get it. And I watched that speech yesterday. I thought it was an outrage. That wasn't a speech on deficit. That was a political speech. That means he's running, and that was his first speech. I thought it was ridiculous. Raising taxes and really not doing anything having to do with the deficit. I thought it was an outrage. And look, he's been a horrible president. I always said the worst president was Jimmy Carter. Guess what? Jimmy Carter goes to second place. Barack Obama has been the worst president ever. The history of this country, Barack Obama is #1. And he had his little minion go on television.
David Plouffe.
And say, David whoever, nobody knows how to pronounce his name.
Yeah.
He ought to make that clear. But he had his person go on television and make a statement like, oh, gee, we certainly
He said
would
you
like
had
to see.
zero chance you would get hired by the American people.
And yet I just won in the recent CNN poll, the independent vote. And I was the one that was tied, statistically tied with Obama, the only Republican that was statistically tied with Obama. And I haven't even done anything. You know, I haven't said I'm running. So, and you know, the polls, and one of the pollsters actually said that one of the reasons I don't go even higher is that a lot of people don't think I'm running. They think I'm having a good time talking to people like you. You become my friend for a month, but I've watched you so much, I consider you like a friend for a long time. But the fact is, a lot of people in the polls don't vote for me because they think I'm just having a good time. They think that I'm promoting Celebrity Apprentice, which I'm absolutely not. And you just told me how good the ratings are in Celebrity Apprentice. I don't need this. I don't need this for that purpose.
Let's look at these polls. The CNN poll. There was a Newsmax online poll, over 500,000 people.
That was the best of all.
That was the best of all. You're second in New Hampshire in a poll that came out. Mitt Romney first. You're second.
And he lives there.
Yeah. Okay. So he's from Massachusetts. So the question is, why do you think your message is resonating? What do you think it is about you at this moment that all of a sudden you come out of nowhere, you say, I'm thinking about running for president, and these poll numbers go up? What do you think's happening?
Well, I think I'm known as a really good businessman, and I am. And by the way, if I run, I will have to disclose my finances, and my finances are phenomenal. Much better than anyone knows. You know, they know I'm rich, but I've done a great job. I've made a lot of great decisions. And that will be disclosed if and when I decide to run. And I actually look forward to that. It'll be, I think, a very positive thing.
All right, let me ask you about the nomination. So you are running for the Republican nomination,
yes,
if you run, okay? You described yourself politically as a conservative?
I am a very conservative person.
Very conservative person. But
with a big heart. I like to say I'm conservative with a big heart.
Recently you said that if you don't get the nomination that you would run as an independent. Now, you're asking Republicans...
Well, I didn't say that. I said I would certainly think about that. Because the question was, what happens if you don't get the nomination? And this was also before the new polls came out that showed me leading. But they said, what happens if you don't get? Would you consider running? I said, yes, I would consider running as an independent.
All right, but if you do that, that would be the greatest gift to Barack Obama. And
unless I won.
No,
unless I won.
Well, in reality, though, if you're a conservative and you didn't get the nomination, you're running against another conservative, you split the vote, Barack Obama sails into the presidency.
Unless I thought I could win as an independent, I wouldn't do that, because if I lost, I'd get a tremendous amount of votes, and I would take them all from the Republican Party, which would be terrible. So unless I thought I could win, really win, as an independent, I would not do that because I wouldn't want to come in second or third place and Obama ends up winning.
Okay, so that if you thought that it would hurt the chances of defeating Obama, you would not do it.
The only way I'd run would be if I didn't get the Republican nomination and felt through polls and lots of other things that are pretty good and pretty scientific and seem to work over the years. I've been watching lots of polls, and they seem to be pretty accurate, amazingly, right? If I thought I could win, absolutely win as an independent, I'd do it. If I didn't, it would be devastating because you wouldn't have a Republican in. So I would have a real problem unless I really felt certain, pretty certain of victory.
Right. You describe yourself as a conservative. What does it mean for you when you say that you are a conservative person? How do you describe that?
Well, I think I have great values. I think I really have a great, solid, strong value. I love this country. I feel so strongly about this country. I love people that work. This weekend, I'm making a speech in Boca Raton, Florida, and there was supposed to be like 200 people before it was announced that I was speaking, and now I hear they have thousands. They had to leave the hall. It's going to be in some park where they have thousands and thousands of people coming, which really makes me feel good. But I really relate to the Tea Party people. Somebody was asking me, in fact, every reporter asks me, what do you think of the Tea Party? And I said, I think they're great. They're workers. They love the country. And, you know, their greatest service has been, and this is very simple, they've made everyone think. They were the first ones that brought up the deficit. We were just riding this deficit, borrowing more and more money. They were the first ones that really made both Democrats and Republicans think. So I think the Tea Party has served an unbelievable and performed an unbelievable function.
How do you describe, and some Republicans will say, wait a minute, he wants the Republican nomination, years gone by, you've donated to people like Harry Reid, Chuck Schumer, other Democrats. Why?
Well, I get along with everybody. And you know, can I be honest? You're a pretty conservative guy. Yeah. But don't you think it's time? I get along with everybody. I get along. I also have plenty of enemies, as you probably know. My worst enemy will be Obama. Rosie. Well, you said Rosie. I didn't. Okay. Right. But the fact is, I get along with people. I also come from a place that's almost exclusively Democratic.
New York.
I'm in New York, okay? I mean, the Republicans don't even think they have a chance, and, you know, maybe I would have a chance, okay? But they don't even think about New York. So I've lived in New York. This building, this great tower, and many other great towers that are, they're in New York. Everyone's Democratic. So what am I going to do? Contribute to Republicans? Well, am I going to contribute to, I mean, one thing, I'm not stupid. Am I going to contribute to a Republican for my whole life when they run against some Democrat, and the most they can get is 1% of the vote? Okay.
All right, so
but I think more importantly, and this question will always be asked, I mean, I've contributed to Schumer, I've known Schumer for many, many years, and I have a good relationship with him. The fact is that I think it's time maybe that we all do get along.